Good evening, New Sarum. Tonight, this scene is set at Bianca's Haven. Isabell is walking up to the door. She spent the previous night thinking long and hard about what she's going to do, what she's going to say to Bianca. She takes a deep breath before raising her hand to knock on the door.
And she hears some noise inside. Maybe the sound of sawing before it stops, and you hear footsteps, and then the door opens. You see Bianca there in a tank top, some jeans, a little bit of sawdust on her. Good evening, my dear. Please come in.
Isabell smiles really big, as she always does when she sees Bianca. She looks at her outfit and the sawdust and, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm playing with some designs for crosses and benches. I saw this one that's like a chair, but it's a spanking bench, sorta, but you strap to it. It's really quite interesting. I'm working on putting one together myself.
That is interesting. I do love that you make all your stuff. I think you've gotten a lot better with it over the years, haven't you?
Oh, I've been working on it. Just takes practice, my dear.
Can can we sit down?
Of course, my dear. And she walks into the living room, and you see this kind of pseudo platform, but it's in the shape of a V with like 8-inch wide sections sticking out in each direction in front of where the coffee table usually is. It's not in here. Maybe she's moved it to another room so she had room to do this.
But the couch is there, right?
Yes, it's pushed over a little bit, but it's there.
Okay. Isabel waits for Bianca to sit down.
She sits and pats the couch next to her.
She doesn't sit next to her at first. She goes and sits at her feet.
What do you want to talk about, my dear?
We'll get to that in a moment. I just really want to enjoy being here right now, if that's okay.
That bad of a subject, huh?
And she just lays her head on Bianca's lap, fighting back tears. She doesn't want to cry all over her lap.
Bianca strokes her hair. She knows this is coming. She's known for a while. She's seen Isabell struggling.
Isabel sits there for a while and just enjoys being in at Bianca's feet, laying her head in her lap for what might very well be the last time. She lays there for a while before she picks her head up and moves to the couch to sit next to her. She takes Bianca's hands in hers.
Yes, my dear.
There is no easy way to do this, to say this. And she just starts crying
Bianca pulls you close, letting you cry. Knowing that this is hard for you, she's trying to be there for you as much as she can. She knows what's been lurking in the shadows for far too long.
After last night, I realized that they're never going to accept you. They're never going to accept us. And I'm not strong enough to keep going. I'm just not.
So you finally made your decision then.
This is not easy. I love you so much. And I have since the day I saw you all those years ago. And that's not just gonna go away, just. But right now, we can't be together.
I see. Well, if that's your decision, I'm not going to force you into being unhappy.
That's just the thing, though. Being without you makes me unhappy. Will make me unhappy. I can't win either way.
Well, then, I guess that means we're over then, yes? For good?
I hope not. I really. She's having trouble with her words. She's having trouble finding them. Her brain is scrambled. All the her blood is actually rushing to her face, and she's very flustered, and her face caked with blood as she's crying.
Well, I suppose this kind of reminds me of that breakup in, what was that movie? Moulin Rouge. They had that little song.
Yeah. I don't want this to be goodbye forever. I mean, we have forever, right? I'd like.
That's the theory behind it.
I think maybe once I can get some kind of standing or influence, maybe work to build relations between our clans, that maybe one day we can try again. Because I don't want us to be over for good. I don't.
Need to work on your
Out.
standing. Okay. Well then, my dear, I guess there's really only one thing left to do. Please, have a seat. She gestures towards the thing she's been building.
She doesn't immediately go. She just sits there and looks at you and cries.
She grabs you by your hair and stands you up and pushes you over to the thing she's been building. Sit.
um, she does so, a little taken aback by the suddenness of what she did. The way that she did it is different than normal. Of course, she expected that, but
Shall we
she. Go ahead.
shall we do this the easy way or the hard way?
What do you mean by the hard way?
You see a very perverse grin come across her face.
Bianca.
You see her pick up the hacksaw that she's been cutting wood with.
Uh, she picks up her leg, her left leg that her collar is on, and she puts it in Bianca's lap.
So the hard way or the easy way, my dear?
The easy way, please.
She drops the saw, pulls their necklace out with the key to your collar, takes it off, reaches down, and unlocks it. She just lets him fall away. You're free, my dear. Enjoy your standing.
Isabell just sits there for a moment, crying, uncontrollably, shaking. She knows that she just chose her clan over the woman she loves. It was not an easy decision, and she will hurt all the time because of it. She stands up. May I go wash my face before I leave, please?
Of course, I wouldn't want you to breach the masquerade on my behalf.
She goes into the bathroom and she cries a little bit more before turning on the water and washing the tears away from her face, hoping that she can hold it together long enough to get back home, which isn't that far away, before crying again.
You hear something shatter in the living room.
She jumps and she closes her eyes and shakes her head. can't be undone now. She makes sure that her face is clean. A couple of deep breaths to stave off any tears. And she goes back out to the living room.
You see the TV has the collar wedged into it.
She takes another deep breath, holding back more tears. She turns to Bianca and she says, I will never stop loving you. My love for you is never a question. It never has been, never will be. I will love you until my dying day. And then she turns around out of Bianca's haven.
Goodbye, Miss Murphy.
Before she actually goes out the door, she turns to Bianca and she says, also, just so you know, I'm sorry that I'm not strong enough for this. And I'm sorry that this is going to hurt Miranda too. And she tries to fight back more tears because I do love her as well. And that won't ever change either.
You see Bianca walking towards the TV and just putting her hand against it.
Goodbye, Bianca.
Goodbye, Miss Murphy.
And with that, she opens the door and leaves and pulls it shut behind her. She doesn't slam it or anything, but she hurries to her car and drives the short distance back to her haven. And she barely gets into the door before she collapses and more tears come. And she goes and digs out the locket that she put away after Bianca gave her her collar. And she opens it up and looks at the picture of the two of them when they were teenagers. And she cries. And blood spills onto the locket. And she clutches it and curls up with it. And that is where she spends the rest of the night until she falls asleep.
Bianca, on the other hand, driven to a rage, rips the TV off its hinges, slamming it over the back of a couch, shattering the screen further, breaking it in half. Just nothing takes this rage. She's barely keeping enough control that she doesn't destroy her house or go ripping through the city. Oh, Kara will pay for what she has taken from me. She will pay dearly. That is where this scene will end.